This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so I have to make sure. So we say we approve on this one. Okay, so no option. Right. All right. So John, so I was talking with Michael before you joined. So seem like main agenda probably full. So we probably need to sign up for June meeting. So
That's fine because I need time to get the CLA signed.
okay, so you're okay to present, right? This time you're
Yeah,
more
because
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let me put
Because since the OpenRMC 1.0 was API specification was already approved, as
yeah.
I see as a spec, this will go in as just purely a white paper describing what the API will do. So
Okay.
There's no normative language in it at all.
Okay. All right. So I will send a meeting to Michael. I mean the request put on the agenda of June.
Right.
Okay. So talk about the demo plan. So for the OCP Go Bus Summit on the November. This actually it's an interesting topic. So so I think there's two areas we want to talk about is so do we have specific scope on this demo plan or just show all the features aligned to 1.0 or we want to update the spec to 1.1 or 1.5 and then make some feature improvement to do this demo? This is the first question. So the second one is, do we want to mix rack? Okay, so let me rephrase question. So right now, so I tried to find some ecosystem with alignment to the OpenRMC design spec 1.0. So is Sujay online?
Yeah, he's online. He's muted.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sorry. Han,
Hey,
can you hear me? Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, actually, I was mute, trying to unmute myself. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me recap a little bit. So during OCP Tech Week, right? So I believeYwin has our E100, right? System. So at that time is but it's not RESTful API yet. So
Yes.
let me pull up. Hold on.
Yeah, you're right. We were developing at that time, and now like
So
we are. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
yeah, so I just found the slide deck.
Yeah.
So the next step seemed like you have planned to make it available through the Redfish interface, right?
Yeah.
So can you give us an update whether your system has this implemented, whether
Yep.
it's aligned to the NASPON 1.0?
Yeah. We have integrated the Redfish, and we can run basic commands, but now we are making changes to make it not bound compliant, So that is work in progress at this point.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do you know roughly? I don't want to put a deadline. But do you have a plan or do you have a lead time estimation?
Yep. Yeah, we are targeting in next couple of months. We should be able to we'll be ready.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it'll be well before November. That is for sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me go back. So my questions are beyond Inspur and YWin. So who else we can put into this ecosystem? John, okay, so let me change the topic to, so right now in the hardware management team, so we want try to push all the hardware baseline profile. So for all the new contribution, do we need a higher requirement to conform to this baseline profile for all the new contributed?
No,
John?
no,
No,
not
no.
until we not until we get to this profile. So 1.0 is out, right? It's improved, right? So that's what you march to until it changes. So this link up to baseline is part of 1.x, right? It's no
Yeah.
longer because 1.
No,
So
I'm talking about
so
other platform like a server they have to have the hardware management baseline profile implemented, right? So I know the existing might not have it, but for this year's newly contributed, do from the hardware management project perspective, are we proposing and pushing all the platform project with newly contributed? Do they have to have this baseline profile implemented? So
that is, yes, that's the direction on the template design specification is platform contributions have to adhere to the baseline OCP baseline profile.
okay.
And then in addition to that, if the specific platform has extended the baseline, then let's say server, then it would also have to conform to the server profile. So that was the original intent, right? And so
Yeah.
that's marching forward. There's definitely resistance because now people are seeing normative requirements that they previously could ignore because it was quote optional, and you were getting pushback. So we might not get it all, but that's what OCP is pushing forward on. And so the only thing that relates to OpenRMC is that OpenRMC did a standalone profile in that profile, and instead of extending from the baseline, which is what everybody else is required to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
Okay.
but for the future from OpenRMC perspective, so we definitely want the other SaaS-bound platforms so at least conform to the baseline profile, right? So
Yes.
the OpenRMC can play a better role. Otherwise, is like so the ecosystem just limited to very few system or vendors. So yeah, okay. So just go back to the global summit demo. So if Vivin is capable to have this Northbound 1.0 implement, is Vivin interesting to have a mixed rack demo together, or I need to check with Inspire as well. So this is just
I guess the question is, what is the goal of the demo? What are you trying to demonstrate? So if YWin is there, then you can demonstrate there are two implementations of the OpenRMC northbound interface, right? That's one claim. Like the second claim is that OpenRMC is quote dependent on individual nodes supporting the baseline profile, and so you can demonstrate that by having quote random nodes all supporting the baseline being managed by one of the RMCs.
Yeah, so I think so from OpenRMC definitely. So we want to demonstrate all the OpenRMC profile, but so because we already have a demo before, so if purely on that one is not very attractive. So go back to your comments. So if we can have our a mix rack and with different system from different supplier. So I think that will be the value added on. So maybe not to be too ambitious at the beginning. So we can start with a baseline profile, but I think from YVM perspective, they might can implement or even align to all the requirement on the OpenRMC design profile. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's that's my asking. So what's the plan and whether they want to be part of it? Yeah. Also, so in the project perspective, is so what's our goal and for this demo, right? So I think Bill talked about during last meeting. So for 4 or 5 supplier to have a mixed rack, but I don't see right now we can accomplish that to have so many suppliers. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's because he's um, describing his vision of what would look good, right? And
Mhm.
that's fine. But
Yeah.
I'm not here to satisfy Bill, right? I'm here to
Yeah.
go figure out how to get this thing moving. And so the messages you want to have is that OpenRMC API is being implemented by
Uh-huh.
more than one vendor, right? If
Uh-huh.
we can get we win in there, that'd be good, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, and the second is that OpenRMC can manage more than one southbound node,
Yeah.
um, which is heterogeneous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say you can fulfill both of those, right? By one having uh, 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 we win there, okay? And then if we have you there, but we have you managing both a Inspur node and uh, a WeWin node, then you can satisfy the second one. And if you want to attack, so that's two. So if you want to tack on anybody else who wants to be there, that'd be great. But you have to look at what the message you want to deliver, the minimum necessary to deliver that message. And once you get that running, right, then you can open up the floor to anyone else who wants to go start delivering other nodes. Because if you start with an ambitious, let's get 5
Yeah, I know.
server nodes, right, this ain't going to happen, right? People are going to start, will sit back waiting for something to actually work before they
Mm-hmm.
walk in and say, yes, I want to participate.
Okay. Yeah, so I talked to the expert team. So they have a solid plan to do a demo for the OCP Go Summit. So I think maybe this is the first step for that demo purpose. So like I said, so if YV is ready later on, so we might see whether we don't do too ambitious and have YV if they are interested be part of the demo. Then if that if that one also work and show it's working in a mix rack, so we will check with other might be interested in. So I think that will be more reasonable and realistic because right now is still April, so we still have 6 months. So Raji, it's the beginning of November. It's
Yeah, I think it's in the second week of November.
second week of November. Okay. Okay.
So I think as John mentioned, I think I don't have much clarity on what we are trying to showcase. Um, and again, as you mentioned, we still have time, but the sooner we have more details on the goals and the items that we would like to bring it uh, in front of the community, I think would be very helpful, so that I can start communicating with you folks that this is what you need to see, in these demos.
Yeah, yeah. Last time, Bill just wandered in and said, "This is what I'd like to see at the Global Summit as a demo," and we're trying to develop the reasoning behind why we would want a bunch of people want to do all that work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. Thanks already.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will go back to Inspire team to request some demo details, and so we probably can come back next week meeting to discuss the scope and also the further plan regarding this demo. So
Yeah,
hopefully we get
that
more
would be
people,
great.
more people involved, and we try to avoid too ambitious and scare everybody away.
And Han, maybe I can confirm you as well in the next meeting. How would that, about
Okay,
I need to go back and talk to the team as well.
sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm. In next meeting. Okay. Okay, so I think we are go to next one. So John, so right now OpenRMC the profile actually doesn't fully align with baseline profile. So are we targeted 1.1 to have that include in our new OpenRMC spec? How do you think?
Yeah, I can show that draft.
Okay.
I think I showed it in the last meeting. I can go in detail. Can you give me share access?
You don't have it? No.
Okay. Oh, maybe I do.
Yeah. You
Okay,
have
you
it,
guys
right?
see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So each of the usage guide documents have a section in front, which is the capabilities. And so this is the current capability table that we have. Oops. Yeah. Which is everything the rack manager can do. It's separated into things you can do for the entire rack, things you can do to the rack manager, and things you can do to individual nodes. And then based on that, is a link to the section which describes exactly what the interaction would be based on Redfish. So this is done, as I mentioned, as a standalone. If we go, excuse me, and make this a extension of the baseline, then we can add the baseline in front. These are all the capabilities that come with the baseline. And
So when you say
so
extensions, John, those are specific to the RMC. The baseline are the standard baseline profiles, right?
exactly, the baseline is applies to all OCP platforms. So there's a given set that you can always depend on to be there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we have. It references the user's guide for the OCP baseline hardware management profile, which we reviewed in the previous meeting, which also has which has this table. In addition, it has links to exactly how the interaction would behave. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, any questions? Okay. So, and this is just done in the profile by setting one property about what the OCP OpenRMC profile is extended from. Right now, it's not extended from anything. In the future, it will be extended from the baseline. And what you see, what immediately I saw was, hey, well, some of these we have down here that we now get for free by referencing the baseline. And so I've gone to the existing table, and I've lined out, stroked through the ones that we will already have, which comes from the baseline. So the baseline already calls for full information from the rack manager. So we can remove that because it's still a use case, but it comes with the baseline. Obtain the formal revision of the rack manager and admin and user accounts. So that all comes with the original.
Hey, John, I have a question. So
Yes.
this is from OpenRMC perspective. So the hardware baseline is for rack manager controller, right? So, but from the whole system, I mean, from rack perspective, are we expected to put in all the underlying platform baseline profile? So allow
Don't
the,
understand that question.
yeah, so right now you're talking about all the baseline profile from RMC.
No. There's no such thing as all the baseline, all the different types. There's only one baseline profile. Right. There's only one baseline profile, and then which goes across all OCP platforms. Servers take that baseline and extend it to the server profile.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no longer, it has both the baseline and whatever incremental the server adds to it. And that has been requested from all OCP platforms. So do you understand that? So there's only one baseline, so don't talk about, okay. So when this OpenRMC API was going through review, one of the feedback was this doesn't extend from the baseline. You should. So this is an attempt to extend OpenRMC from the baseline. Does that make sense? Huh?
You try to understand here. So we want to convert to align on top of the baseline profile, right? We have to change.
Correct.
Yeah.
We want OpenRMC to extend from the baseline, which means it will inherit all the baseline requirements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this gonna align with all the platform, not just RMC, but all the other southbound platform. We are in a full well alignment with all the platforms.
Right.
That's the idea.
Correct. Correct. Can I go on, or are you still thinking?
You
Okay.
can
Okay.
go on. Yeah. So
I don't want to lose you. That's why. Okay. So we get all this, with the baseline. We're going to extend it to become OpenRMC. We can, in fact, remove these sections because they're already dealt with, or we can just keep them and say this is already this should be the same as what's in the baseline. Okay, and so that's all we need to do to besides the profile work to extend OpenRMC from the baseline. Okay, so the other issue with that came back about OpenRMC is security, right? And we talked recently about the fact that we've been trying to get the security group to work with us, and they have either ignored us or they have ended up being a no-show when we've scheduled them for a meeting. So Rajiv, I took an AR to at the IC, kind of poke them directly because I poked them via email and they don't particularly want to respond other than we're really interested in doing this, but you send them follow-on mail and they say nothing. So
No, yeah,
I'm
I'm
tired of it.
with you. I mean, they have their own fires that they're trying to control it. I just
I
attended a
understand,
security call, so
but
you know what?
I
We'll
would,
just
and I would
yeah,
much rather they tell me I have fires, we have no time, and then be ignored, right? So we're being ghosted.
yeah, I
So
understand.
what I said, go ahead.
No, go ahead, John.
Okay. So when this discussion came up at the Holy Management meeting, I made the proposal I made here last month, which is good. Then we'll start adding um, security stuff into the update of the OpenRMC. And when
Hmm.
it goes up to the IC, they can complain, and we can say we asked you, we begged you to come help us, and you did nothing, right? So guess what? We get what we get, right? And when you want to help us, then we will probably improve it. So, and I think that's the strategy when we want to go do. Okay. So
Yeah,
I didn't want to add a whole bunch of security stuff that I know little about, and so I was going to go ask for guidance from the reference forum as to what they would propose, right? And then we'll add it, and that will at least get the conversation going. Okay.
right. And my
So in
recommendation, John,
addition to this,
keep moving forward without waiting for them. Maybe we can have their and keep security, profile schemas optional for the time being.
I would rather they throw rocks at us from behind, but at least they recognize that we're doing something and not saying that.
Okay.
So in addition to the baseline table, which is up top, the existing rack management capabilities table, I've added another table, which is proposed capabilities that we can also add in 1.1. And so my one security thing is to add, be able to get a certificate from the system. And this would be the system certificate, and I haven't figured out what that really means yet, but we could add that directly into the profile that it needs to support at least a system certificate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then while I was thinking about other things we could do, is there a question? Yeah. Since we are a rack manager and we want to be able to perform operations on the rack or the subset of a rack, then Redfish actually has a model called the aggregation model for doing group operations. So we can add the ability to support the aggregation service and then be able to get the status from a group of nodes or to reset a group of nodes or update firmware on a group of nodes. But we can now do group operations, which is what a rack manager would be able to do. Any questions or objections to those?
So one feedback is when you say get the certificate for the system, you're talking about the security certificate like X509 and things like that for signing. Uh,
Yes.
right. But the use case says system certification. The name might be a little misleading. It's like you're certifying a system, not the actual security certificate.
Right. So when this has a link to the section will tell you exactly how to get that
Okay,
certificate and what that certificate look for, right? This is, yeah.
got it.
And I think actually, and I don't know, that Redfish actually supports multiple types of certificates. So there,
Okay.
there's probably a certificate type in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But one, I think the big change is to extend from baseline and then add some incremental capabilities that, you know,
Okay.
we want to add in 1.1.
Also another one recently, so how can we prevent? So I know, so if we have multiple rack management, is there any chance like other rack managed controller can also control this rack, suppose without this privilege? So is there any way we need to prevent that happening? So I'm thinking, so if you have a management network, you have multiple rack manager. So
So
in
you're
case
talking hierarchical.
hierarchical or just penetrate from other rack, so they have a rack manager controller as well. So will in this management network will detect on this rack as well. So how can we prevent other RMC to control this rack?
Well, wait a minute. So they're coming into the notepad interface and saying, I want to control you.
So
Wait. Are you saying you have a rack manager and multiple people are trying to control it simultaneously, and the rack manager is saying, no, I only respond to one.
no, I'm talking about if we have a management network switch, we have single switch, but we have two physical rack, and each rack has a RMC, but they are both connected to this open management network. Will that a chance the neighbor RMC to control this rack? So
the question is, do you want that as a capability?
no, I want to
Or
prevent that happen unless you want a backup or something. So I'm talking from a security and privilege perspective. So is there any mechanism we can prevent this happening? So right now, how can you decide which group you can actually control? So
when you come into the Redfish interface, you have to provide your credentials.
okay.
And and you can't provide the credentials, you can't control, you can't issue Redfish commands. So if you have one data center manager and two rack managers, hopefully only your data center manager has the credentials to talk to the rack managers.
Okay.
And one rack manager doesn't have the credentials to talk to the other rack manager.
Okay.
So I think you know, from the architecture, that's exactly how you do it. So
Okay.
so we don't need to do this. So this is actually where you have a layering of rack managers, and they manage each other. So we don't want to even go in that space. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, that's all I have. So I'm going to go ahead and add these sections for these so we understand what we're talking about. And then once you agree, we can go update the profile.
Okay. Thank you, John. So are you planning to show a draft maybe in next meeting or?
Yeah, I can go through the new sections at the next
Okay,
meeting.
okay. All right, thank you, John. Yeah, so can you stop sharing? I go back to my, I think it's already the end of today's agenda because data center facility team, the leader has an urgent meeting, so we don't have that topic today, so might push to next meeting. So Rajiv, so do I need to attend the security project meeting to, because you said they already have lots of fire to put out, right?
I would put a hold on to it and
Uh-huh.
focus on this. This is not a good time. I will let you know
Okay.
when, but for the time being, let's move on. Yeah, I'm sorry if I had a better answer, but
No,
um,
that's a truthful answer, which is better.
no,
Yeah. So I don't want to just no show and no any feedback or just no words.
no, I have
So
seen you sending many emails repetitively asking for meetings, and no, that's not acceptable. But and you tried your best,
mm,
and that's has been an issue, but we move on, and I think I need to take that later at a very
yeah,
good
so
time. We don't see that right now.
I don't, so I think the goal is I don't want burden then if typically when they have a lots of things right now to deal with, but somehow give us some documents or some suggestion, maybe
No.
just
It's
share
not
some
about
document.
burdening.
Yeah.
Han, they themselves cannot take any decision. So for we had an hour meeting, is full
Mhm.
of circles. Nothing comes out of it. So then they need to be, I guess, be united in order to move the needle. So uh,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So I will wait for your signal. Yeah.
sure.
So, Han,
So
if you're done.
yeah,
So,
I'm done. Yeah.
so I have one more question. So, in the capabilities for proposed capabilities, we have firmware update for the rack manager in the current OpenRMC.
I
We had talked about doing a firmware update on the individual nodes, and I think we removed that at the end um, from 1.0. Should we put it back in 1.1?
This is a good question. So, because this really regarding some security, how can we guarantee this image is a valid image, right? So, are we depending on the security check on the node level, or it just grants the RMC as a privileged update the node level?
Mhm.
So, how do you think on this one? So
Well,
right
well,
now,
okay. So you're going to solution space way too quick, right? The question is, do we want to be able to do this in OpenRMC 1.1? And then we can say, here are all the issues. Let's go resolve it, right? And
so that
I'm
yeah.
telling you that because you're right. The first thing you hear about is security, right? So maybe we can start adding stuff and asking the security group, can you just vet this, right? Just if you can't meet with us, at least tell us we're going the right direction, right? And that you're not going to puke over this when we go up to the IC. But we can get them engaged in ways other than let's go have a meeting and talk about things.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I want to add it back, but I'm right now I'm hesitating because the security concern later on will jump out, right? So if we add it back,
But we
so
will never make progress if we don't.
yeah,
To
I
me,
know.
I would
Yeah,
add it and say, you're right,
me
security is an
too.
issue. We can't solve it. Let's throw it out again, as
Hmm.
opposed to never talking about it and never making any progress on it, right?
Okay. Yeah. So my personally, I do want add it back. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. So let's address the security later on. So we'll just add it back right now.
Right, because from what I hear, it's a key capability to do firmware update on a node.
Sure, for sure.
Right, whether it's just the BIOS or just the BMC or all the other little things that are on the platform, firmware update is very important. So
Yeah.
if we don't have it, right, I think it lessens the value of OpenRMC.
Yeah, very little value
Mhm.
for sure. Okay.
All right, so now I'll
All right.
add it and we'll figure out how big of a gap we have.
Yeah, we will have lots of challenges. Later on, people will arise on this topic. This is security part is right now seem like a big hurdle. Okay. Okay, I think this is the end of today's meeting because we don't have the data facility team join. I'm sorry, and they sent me last minute notice, so I cannot control that part. Hopefully, they can go on the meeting next meeting. Yeah. So I will give back 15 minutes back to your day. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Han, thank
Okay.
you, John
Thank you.
and team. Bye.
Thanks you all, guys.
All right.
Take care.
See you. Bye bye.